In the late Cretaceous period, the Tyrannosaurus rex was the king of dinosaurs. It had a massive frame that was about 20 feet tall with teeth like razors, strong enough to crush more than 12,000 pounds of meat with its jaws. There is no other carnivorous dinosaur that one can come up with that can be compared to the T-Rex. It was feared and admired in equal measure, as it was insane and fast enough to kill almost every living animal that it met. Still, the T-Rex had its competition. Weren't some plant eaters battle-ready? For millions of years, they had developed complex shields, weapons, and even tactics to defend against such threats. That is what we shall look at today: how these armor-piercing weapons retaliated. Debatably, the most recognized adversary of the T-Rex has to be the Triceratops. Yes, with its oversized bony neck shield and exaggerated bone-enhanced facial protrusions, this Cretaceous animal was more than a vegetarian. A Triceratops grew to 30 feet long and bulked about 10 tons. Its barrel-like body was built to resist predators such as the T-Rex. The 3 sharp horns were its primary weapons, each capable of delivering a deadly wound. The frill, made of solid bone, served as a shield to protect its neck and shoulders from bites. But this wasn't just for defense. Fossil evidence suggests that Triceratops used its horns offensively, charging at predators like a battering ram. Many times, Triceratops did not just defend itself, but rather attacked with its lethal horns, inflicting serious and even deadly wounds. Puncture wounds have been observed on fossilized skulls of T-Rex, suggesting the presence of a corned Triceratops that not only defended itself, but also counterattacked. If the Triceratops was the gladiator of plant-eating dinosaurs, the Ankylosaurus was a tank. This sauntering dinosaur may not have instilled fear in the hearts of animals such as the monstrous T-Rex, but it is also said that things are not what they seem. From rostrum to tail, the Ankylosaurus was completely covered in osteoderms, large bony protrusions encrusted on the skin. This rendered it virtually bulletproof from above. Its back was protected by such thick armor that even the most ferocious bite from a T-Rex would never pierce it. Yet the ultimate weapon of the Ankylosaurus lay in its tail club, a huge sphere of solid bone capable of crushing any obnoxious hunter's bones who daringly came near. The tail club of an Ankylosaurus was capable of packing such bone-breaking force that it could easily break the laryngeal bones of a T-Rex. According to paleontologists, not only was there the potential to break the arm of the predator with a calculated hit, a much greater potential existed to kill the predator. This working mode proved to be very effective. T-Rex made its move, and the nugget housed in withstood the onslaught, looking for an opening to land a devastating punch. Despite having existed in a much earlier era, Stegosaurus is another herbivorous dinosaur that most likely clashed with the enormous flesh-eating dinosaurs during its time. Its famous backplates were not purely ornamental. Stegosaurus, though not as armored as Ankylosaurus, possessed an equally devastating defensive mechanism, the thagomizer, a tail tipped with a pair of long, sharp spikes that was used to attack the opponent. The thagomizer was an offensive, dangerous tool. Every spike on the tail could extend to a length of about 4 feet, and had a strategic elevation angle that was meant to inflict pain on the legs and the soft underbelly of any encroaching enemy. Even though Stegosaurus has never been found with remains that show it battling a T-Rex, it is not hard to fathom this tail carrying out some counter-offensive actions to any ignorant assailant within the local environment. In combat with larger enemies, the Stegosaurus would flail its tail in the manner of a medieval flail, driving its spiked weapon into flesh and bone. Fossils suggest that certain Stegosaurus individuals could have inflicted serious injuries on any carnivore that attempted to prey on them. Despite the fact that many of the defensive adaptations include such famously known herbivores as the Triceratops, the Ankylosaurus, and the Stegosaurus, these were, however, not the only ones that existed. Other plant-eating dinosaurs, as well as Pachyrhinosaurus and Euoplocephalus, found means of defense. For example, as opposed to sharp horns to protect itself, Pachyrhinosaurus evolved a more effective defense mechanism, which was a thick, solid, bony outgrowth on its snout. This highly thickened area of bone could provide considerable shock resistance and allow head conduct forceful enough to allow even large predators to retreat. Euoplocephalus, another heavily armored dinosaur in the Ankylosaur family, possessed a body with tough armor plates and wielded a tail with a clubbed end. It was smaller in size compared to Ankylosaurus, but used most of the same defensive mechanisms. Straddling at the top of the food chain, every other carnivore was a constant challenge to the T-Rex. Herbivores were not dipshits across the board. They too evolved and were able to outsmart their predators, thus enduring in silence. If the T-Rex made a wrong turn, it was prone to paying an expensive price. For the herbivore, it was not simply a matter of running away, survival in flight. Many had the hardware to turn and engage. Predator-prey interactions were the defining influence for the ecology of the Cretaceous period. Evolution promoted change, and herbivores like the Triceratops and its brethren, like the Ankylosaurus, turned the focus against the tyrant lizard king. It speaks volumes to the extent of relation between predator and prey relationships since time immemorial. With respect to the tyrant king and his plant-eater enemies, however, such was a contest in the very biological sense. Millions of years later, the story of the evolution of the structure of defenses of herbivores against hunters, such as the T-Rex, reached its final act, and so the cycle continued with the help of evolution, only that instead of the prey elicitation concealment behavior, it was hunting that became their specialization. The T-Rex was a powerful creature, but there were obstacles to its dominance too. The herbivore clans, especially Triceratops and Ankylosaurus amongst others, came armed with all they had: armor, spikes, horns, and stubbornness. They were not merely existing, they were contending for their position in an active, threatening environment. These beings also teach us that no matter how strong the predator, there will always be antagonism. Nothing in nature is univoque. Balance is what is achieved, rather. It is a battle of existence where creativity and flexibility are usually the keys. As of now, evidence of titanic mammalian wars burnt to ashes remain to show the resilience of life. The dominance of the dinosaur was a period that has long since departed in time, even though their reminders still exist today and aim to teach us how evolution can know no restraint in the battle for existence. The accounts of T-Rex in conjunction with the herbivores it butchered are about the ability of living organisms to overcome and adapt and fight tooth and nail back for that which we consider invaluable life. Fossils are even more so confirmations of these various tales, as these animals were brave enough to take on one of the meanest hunters in history. It is therefore not surprising that though the dinosaurs ceased to exist a long time ago, their tale is heard in the present-day animal kingdom. It is witnessed in the savannas of Africa, where elephants and rhinoceros defend themselves from predators in the same manner. And just like before, the power dynamics are very controlled, and it is due to the protective mechanisms of the prey and the urge of the predator. A T-Rex does not walk this earth anymore, but its very existence and that of its herbivore prey will always epitomize the battle for existence found in the wild. All these lessons from these creatures stand the test of time and urge us that perhaps the strongest might not necessarily be one who eats, but one eats the other. Defense, stubbornness, and readiness to counterattack are sometimes all that is required for survival. That's a wrap for the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. In your opinion, who will win the mother of all battles between these ancient titans? Write down your thoughts in the box below.